With all the crazy stuff going on related to the natural environment uh, lately, uh, I came across the video, and I'll put it down below, with John Rubino, a discussion with him about insurance, residential insurance, the housing market, population growth, etc., inflation, things like that. Um, But we've seen a lot going on with the weather. Just here, a few days ago, we've had Florida and on the beach. Excuse me, snow on the beach in Florida, which is just insane. I've never seen that in my lifetime. I have seen snow pretty far south, but never as particularly that much snow. I think it snowed 6 inches in Tallahassee, Florida. That's crazy. Okay. Which is, as I've been trying to tell people who want to believe what they see on the news, and all the politicians and all the talking heads who've been telling you that we've got global warming. Nope. Yes, we have climate change. So what? But the minimum looks like this is maybe the beginning of it. Who knows? We'll see. But we've got all kinds of things going on. In the last 5 years or so, and I've watched hundreds, if not over 1,000 homes just in this short period of time being built in the former pasture that's adjacent to my somewhat semi, or at least it once was, some sort of semi-rural neighborhood. They've just been going up like crazy, one after another. And so when Hurricane Charlie came through here in 2004, it ripped up my neighborhood, but all those other, the other 1,000 homes over there, just yards from me, they didn't exist. So there was less destruction. If a hurricane comes through today, there's a possibility of greater destruction because there's more of everything. Now, that's one way of looking at things. When it comes to illnesses, viruses, heart attacks, strokes, yada, yada, the key to look at, because you're always seeing statistics thrown around all the time. But the real key isn't, obviously there's more people in the world, so you're going to have more of almost everything, right? So there was, 20 years ago, there was one out of, there were 100 deaths from a particular thing, and now we have 10 times as many people. So therefore, if there's 1,000 deaths, that shouldn't be anything to be upset about, other than we don't want people to die, obviously. But I mean, it's not a change, not an increase, really. The increase is if it goes up by the percentage of the population. So if 4% of your population had a illness last year and 8% of your population has the illness this year, then now you've got a problem. There's something weird really going on, right? But in the case of the destruction of homes and things like that, there's more people, right? There's going to be more wrecks anyway. Is the percentage of wrecks up? I heard the other day that the percentage of wrecks are up like 250% or something over the last few years, which is tells you there's something wrong. Okay. Anyway, enough on. There's just wanting to say there's ways of looking at different ways that your percentages or increase in numbers make sense or don't make real sense. In the case of there's a lot more people living in Malibu, well, there's more people living in Malibu, right? So we've had the floods in North Carolina. We've got these fires in California. We had the fire in Maui last year, Lahaina, I think it was. We've got hurricanes all the time. And tornadoes across the, when I was younger, I don't remember hearing much about tornadoes anywhere, but the more our population grew, the more everybody in Oklahoma was getting hit with tornadoes. Now, I've been out in Oklahoma, out in the country, on a mission one time, and look, we were out there. There was nothing around hardly, but there's just more around everywhere, right? So enough said about that. Uh, so I want you to take a look at that discussion because I think it is a good overview. As I listen to these things, though, listening to that discussion and thinking about what's going on around the world, and I remember seeing on the news the other day an official in out in Los Angeles saying, "Well, they've had this problem, but they were going to build back better." And we've heard that "Build Back Better" slogan now for several years. And let's see, it was from the Build Back Better was the initiative undertaken by G7 back in 2021. So it's been over 4 years. And it was part of the partnership for Build Back Better plan sort of started getting the heat, particularly here in the United States, the slogan for that, because people were concerned that, oh, this is changing the way we build our cities. And you can a lot of people refer to what's going on over in England, where you have the 15-minute cities and things like that. So people are sort of rising up in resistance to the notion of who are these people who are, a worldwide organization who want to tell us how to do our thing. So it was a worldwide global initiative. And what are global initiative people doing, coming into our London neighborhood and telling us how to plan our London neighborhood? The Build Back Better World efforts were in line with the standards and principles of the Blue Dot Network, which was, and I want to read what their principles and standards are, relating to the environment and climate, which you'll always hear in the last 10 years at least, if not longer, has been the number one thing that we hear constantly, because that's what they want to keep us concerned about so that they can get us to do whatever they want to. They just always blame it on the environment and the climate. But it's relating to the environment and climate, labor and social safeguards, financing, construction, anti-corruption, and other areas. And then on down this article that I'm reading from Wikipedia, it speaks about how it announced the initiative's global trust standards, which are based on respect for transparency and accountability, sovereignty of property and resources, local labor and human rights, rule of law. I love to hear about the rule of law, the environment, and sound government practices in procurement and financing. These all sound good, and I can tell you I used to eat them up. If you're eating them up today, do not feel alone. I used to eat them up. Man, good words. Oh, man, yes. Rule of law. What does that mean? That means they make a law and they enforce that rule. It has nothing to do with your democratic rights, your liberty. It's the rule of law. That's been preached for at least 20 or 30 years now. Way back, I thought, yeah, we are a nation of laws. And we live by the rule of law. You can go back and listen to president after president after president telling us about the rule of law. That's who we are. I call BS on that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have law. I'm saying this is what they mean by rule of law isn't what you probably expect it means. What they mean by transparency and accountability isn't what you think it's about, because you try to find out what the heck is really happening to the money. Let's see, your taxes are going to these organizations without you voting on any interest or support of those organizations. And it just goes in some pot somewhere, and you don't know what's going on with it. Nobody's accounting for anything. Nobody's being transparent about anything. It's just not the way it works. sovereignty of property and resources, which means whenever they take over your resource that you have because your house got knocked down by the tornado, then they have sovereignty over it. Okay, of course, sovereignty. We're all for sovereignty. We're for sovereignty. Globalists don't care about your sovereignty, people, right? I mean, why would they? They're looking at a globe-wide situation where things move easily throughout the globe that they can control all across the globe without any country getting in the way. So we've got this crazy president right now who's talking about tariffs. Man, that really tears the globalists up, because they certainly don't want any tariffs. They want stuff to just flow across the border with no problem. Let's see. Local labor and human rights. Yes, we're all for that. Let's let that labor come on into this country that we have going on right now, and let them work locally for us, and let them move around the country, and then go back home. That's what we've been doing. Now we're just letting them into the country, and we're out of human rights and labor. We're giving them jobs and money and housing and everything else. I mean, I'm just saying. All these words are all great words. I like them. They're propaganda, and they're just there to get you to buy into it the way I bought into it for years. Okay? They don't mean what you think they mean. They're just everything that is said in all of these organizations, everything that is said are just sweet words to fool you and to make you a slave in some way. Now, this whole deal, people worried about being slaves that I hear from time to time. Yes, look, we're all slaves somehow. I have to do what my client likes, whether I like it or not. I'm getting paid. Slaves get paid. Maybe don't get paid very much. They get taken care of. Okay, there's different ways of us having to depend on other people for food and shelter, right? And I'm not saying that slavery is good. I'm just saying that certainly slavery where you have absolutely no freedom to do anything, and my slavery to my clients is nothing like child slavery or women who are taken as sex slaves or anything like that, obviously. But I'm saying all these sweet words are sweet words. That's all I'm saying, and they don't mean what you think they mean. They're not looking. They're not really looking to do these things for you or the world. They're just trying to find a way for them to do the things they want to do. That's all there is to it. Now, getting back to all of these houses, and I just wanted to bring this up because Build Back Better, there's people concerned up in North Carolina about them wanting to come in and rebuild communities and things like that. And, if you find somebody who's doing something unethical, and certainly illegal, but even unethical, and you can call them out, that's fine. But, how many stories have you heard of that one of the the bad guy says, everybody's got a price? Well, everybody does have a price. Sometimes it's death. But most people are going to break somewhere before death, right? When they're home, I just saw a story on the news just earlier this evening, and it was about a beachfront property where all the owners were just walking away from their homes because the hurricanes that came through back in the fall had just basically flooded their homes. They would have to rebuild them, so they weren't walking away. They were selling their homes just for the property value. So these were like homes that were probably $500,000 at least $1 million maybe homes, and they were selling them just for the value of the property. So and leaving, getting the heck out, right? So we all have a price, and some people are going to take advantage of the price. And why shouldn't they? People, I mean, the property sitting there on the beach with nothing going on. Now, I might argue that the property on the beach should be left off. Nobody should build there because natural environment should be on the beach and not homes. I would make that argument, especially with flood insurance. Thinking, in fact, we're going to talk about that in just a second. but but there, what's the price of that? So maybe this next excuse me, the last video I did, in fact, I talked about eminent domain. So you might want to go look at that, and that sort of piggybacks on this kind of stuff as well. Anyway, this all reminded me of something I saw years ago, back in, I don't remember, 2004, 2006, 1999, I don't remember what it was, but it was back a few decades ago now, by John Stossel, and you can actually go and find it on the internet, the article about it, or I guess it would be the script from his video, but I remember seeing it on 2020 or something like that. And he was talking about how he had a seaside cottage, okay? And I'm just going to read you the excerpts up from it. So John Stossel, "Give Me a Break" was his thing, right? And these are excerpts. Actually, I see I have it as 2000 and 2003. Why do people build their homes so close to the water? They must have known a hurricane might do this, and I guess a hurricane had happened at that point. Why would they take such a foolish risk? Because our government encouraged us to take it. I did it myself. In 1980, I bought some beachfront property on Long Island, New York, and I built a house there. I took the risk because the government made me a promise. The promise was national flood insurance. It made my house and my neighbors' homes, after all. It made my house and neighbors' homes possible, After all, no bank will give you a mortgage unless you have insurance, right? And then I skipped down a few ways. I'm just skipping down. The subsidized insurance goes to affluent homeowners on both coasts. From Malibu Beach, where movie stars live, to Kennebunkport, where the Bush family has a vacation home, to Hyannisport, where the Kennedy family has a summer home, to the Hamptons, where I bought my house. The insurance premiums were a bargain. Federal insurance actuaries, say if the insurance were realistically priced, it would cost thousands of dollars. Of course, it does cost thousands of dollars now. But, I don't know how the federal insurance is doing now, how things might have changed over years. I haven't checked into that. But we're going to, unfortunately, see a lot of this sharing of insurance costs across the nations with these, you and your community may be paying for the fires in California because there's so much devastation. You and your community may be paying for the destruction in North Carolina or in Asheville, for example. You and your community may be paying for the hurricanes that hit the Florida coast or the Louisiana or Alabama coast or Texas. To me, it makes sense that the people who own the property that has the big insurance problem should be paying the insurance. I'm all for multi-billionaire living on the beach. I'm all for if my state thinks we should have a state beach or a city thinks you have a city beach, then they take care of that responsibility. But, when I was a kid, I remember I had an uncle who had a beachside cottage on the Atlantic, and it was great. You just went to the beach, cottage right there. You got out, walked out of the cottage, went out onto the sand and into the beach. And I've done vacations that way as well with beachside cottages. But it's not really fair, it strikes me, to have somebody who lives in a totally high and dry, safe place that is not in a hurricane, a tornado alley, or in a region where there's terrible winds that can cause fire, or in the middle of where hurricanes make the most damage. So that's not really fair for them, it strikes me, to be paying a higher insurance so these other people can have a discount on theirs. But that's my opinion. That's something that if you don't like it, you need to take it up with your state legislature. But anyway, go ahead and check out this interview with Rubino, John Rubino. It's a pretty informative, because it's sort of broad ranging and thought provoking, which is what I'm about, as you can tell. On top of that, once again, I should have started the video. I'm a terrible video guy as far as try to remind people to like, give me a thumbs up, give me multiple thumbs up, give me some love. Sign up, subscribe, that is. That'd be good. And of course, make comments. Tell me maybe you saw the old John Stossel thing, and you want to make a comment about that. Maybe you've got an insurance problem, or a family member or know of a friend, etc., who has dealt with some kind of insurance issue because of natural disasters and whatnot. Anyway, maybe you don't like the Build Back Better idea, and you want to spout off about that some. Whatever. But anyway, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe, and have a good day.